Every morning I wake up with a new pain in the neck. The legs are a little more stiff than they've been in the past. Got to loosen up the hips with some extra stretching. It just makes me realize I'm getting older. Of course, that's a part of life. But after watching Thursday night football, I'm feeling a lot better about where I am. That's right. After watching Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco, men in their 40s, ball out and have some fun, it made me realize I'm still young at heart, I'm still young in the body, and I can still go out there and chase my dreams. Well, welcome in Chiefs Kingdom to Chiefs Latest. This is your one-stop spot for everything Kansas City Chiefs, usually in 15 minutes or less. Well, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling young, and that means we're going to attack this episode with some energy. That's right, we're going to look at our Week 7 preview against the Las Vegas Raiders. But before we do, you guys know the drill. If you're listening on YouTube, if you could just take a few seconds, hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on those notifications because we have daily videos here at Chiefs Latest. That's right, I said daily videos Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the news, rumors, or actions regarding this Kansas City Chiefs team, so please hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications as it not only helps me in the channel, but it's going to help you stay up to date with everything Kansas City Chiefs. Now, we're going to start with the offense, and we're going to look at how this compares to the Raiders defense. Well, good news is finally we're going to see Rashee Rice back on the field after a full year. That's right. He had last season's injury, and then he had the 6-game suspension to start this year. Finally, going to see him back in that Chiefs uniform. And he did fairly well against the Raiders the last few times that he's faced them. 14 catches, 164 yards, 1 touchdown, and 6 first downs. And the Chiefs, they told everyone right away, media, anyone that would listen. The NFL knows it. The Raiders know it. Rashee Rice is going to be thrown to the Wolves early, and they're going to expect him to have a big workload right away. It's no secret, especially when you have Patrick Mahomes, who's reaching that MVP level again as your quarterback. Not only that, he's already tied his career high in rushing touchdowns this season already in Week 7. And he's coming off his best QBR since 2022. He faces a Raiders pass rush and D line that, is pretty good. It's decent. But what is beyond that? Not very, not very good linebackers, and that secondary is very, very poor. They allow 236 pass yards per game. Max Crosby leads that D line, as everyone knows, and we all know him and Patrick Mahomes' relationship. It's fun, it's respectable. He leads with 4 sacks. Jawan Taylor, after facing Aiden Hutchinson last week, yeah, his week does not get any easier. But it's not just Max Crosby you have to worry about. Jonah Lalulu, in his second year, he also brings in 4 sacks to this one. He's emerging as a true threat for that Raiders pass rush. But the Chiefs' O-line, despite what's going on and leaving us in the dark, it held up pretty well against the Lions. They only allowed 4 pressures, 1 sack on 38 pass plays. That's a 93.4 PFF pass blocking efficiency rating. That was the NFL's best last week. Not only that, they allowed only 15% pressure rate. That's the lowest that anyone has had versus Detroit so far this season. Again, Josh Simmons is out for personal reasons, but Jalen Moore came in, and rightfully so because he's getting paid basically starter money, played well for such a short notice and having a kid earlier that day. He allowed 3 pressures, 67.7 PFF grade on 40 pass blocking snaps. He faces Tyree Wilson this week. Andy Reid may chip Max Crosby. The Raiders are going to be in that 4-3 defense. It allows 95.3 rushing yards per game. That's 10th in the league. So they really hone in on stopping the run, which doesn't really matter in our case. Yeah, we saw the run game get some juice last week and maybe even the past couple weeks. But really, this Chiefs team is going to thrive against the Raiders passing the ball. And I think that's fine, especially with the Raiders who like to use a linebacker in the slot. Devin White versus Rashee Rice. Ugh. Ooh, that should be easy money for Rice in this one. The offense is truly coming alive, folks. 51% scoring drive rate. It's crazy. That's the best since 2021 for this team. And you're like, well, yeah, Calvin. I mean, look who they have back now. No, this was also before Xavier Worthy. You didn't have him for 3 games. This offense ranks top 3 in scoring at 29.2 points per game, and they're top 5 in yards at 397.4. yards per game. And again, all because of the one and only Patrick Mahomes. He was really putting the weight on his shoulders, on his back these first 6 weeks. And they're kind of changing how they're going about this offenses. They're going a little bit more under center. Not a whole lot, but more than we've seen. 17 snaps under center versus the Lions. That was a season high. And when you do that, they're getting 6.5 yards per carry. When it comes to the pass, they're averaging 8.3 yards, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns the last 3 weeks under center. It aids the run game. It aids the play action. Patrick Mahomes, with his quarterback runs, with the bootlegs, it gets him open. He's been using his legs more. Whether you like to see him take the hits or not, because he never slides, he's been using his legs more. When you're under center, you disguise those bootlegs better. You disguise the quarterback runs better. The defenses aren't expecting it. You hide the ball better. It just works overall better. Andy Reid, though, prefers the quick passes. He prefers shotgun. He does not want to go under center as much. And not only that, Patrick Mahomes never played under center in college, so it's not really his forte either. But yet you want to throw it in there every once in a while because it is working. Not only are you going now more under center, you're kind of changing how Travis Kelce is utilized in this offense, which is smart. He's older. He's not what he was even just 3 years ago. His routes are now 4 to 6 yards instead of, the 8 to 10 that we would see, even the 10 to 15 that we would see earlier in his career. He's more of that extended check down now. But that's all right. It keeps you ahead of the sticks. Those 4 to 6 yards keeps you ahead of the sticks, and it's going to go against the blitzes. Teams are going to have trouble blitzing you because you can just get it out right away to Kelce now. But it's not just the short throws they're doing either. They're going deeper. 20-plus air yards at 43% completion this season versus 27% in 2024. The offense is going to carve the Raiders if Jalen Moore can hold his line, if they can hold Max Crosby, if they don't let Jonah Lalulu go nuts. And then you have Rashee Rice paired with Devin White. That's burnt chicken, folks. I would like to see some more under center snaps. It's been working. Again, don't need to go crazy with it, but you went 17 last week. Why not try to aim for 20? 18 at least. Go at least one more. Let's see if it works. But that dual threat vibe that Patrick Mahomes brings, that he possesses, under center, shotgun, doesn't really matter. The way he's playing right now, and you give him his best weapon back, it's getting real dangerous, folks. It's getting real dangerous. All right, let's go ahead and switch to the defense, which should have a field day as well. I'm not trying to talk down too much on the Raiders here, but this should be a game that the Chiefs win. If you look at the quarterback for the Raiders, Geno Smith, he's throwing the ball more to opposing teams than he is to his own team in the end zone. 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions this season. It's not good. And the Raiders are likely going to miss Brock Bowers with an injury. Jacoby Myers, he's banged up. There's trade rumors surrounding him right now. So you don't even know what he's going to look like for them. So that leaves Trey Tucker, 350-plus yards, 4 touchdowns, and he has that 4.3 second yard, 40-yard dash. So he's the main threat when it comes to the receiving core. Obviously, the biggest thing with him and his small frame is you just don't want him to sneak by. You don't want him to get behind the secondary, burn you deep. I think that's just the main threat with him. But again, 4 touchdowns on the season. He knows how to get into the end zone. But our secondary has been playing good. Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, lockdown corners, Noah Williams. He's looking like he's going to be another gem for Brett Beach. Brian Cook, though, when we go to the safeties, right now the Chiefs, he's the only trusted single high safety for them. But the Chiefs have allowed 0 passes over 25 yards in the past 2 games. They use the 2 high shells. They use the robber looks. By switching back and forth with those, you're slowing the reads of quarterbacks all season. Has it always worked for you? Not necessarily. You're not always getting the win, but you're at least slowing down quarterbacks who tend to have faster reads. But the main threat is it's not Geno Smith. It's not going to be the offensive line. It's not going to be the receiving core. It's going to be Ashton Genty. 424 yards, 105 carries. He's averaging about 5 yards per carry and 4 touchdowns since week 4. Leo Chenal at the linebacker position has to be ready for that, meeting Genty there at the second level or the first level. Then you have Nick Bolton. He's going to have to watch for Michael Mayer. I always want to say Michael Meyer. I always about say it. Michael Mayer, there we go, caught myself, because he is just a minor tight end threat there. Raiders, again, O-line, not really going to be a problem. They have slow-footed tackles. That's going to give Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, honestly, this D-line a good chance to rack up some sacks. Again, we sit at about 14th. That's average in the league. So I truly think that this secondary is going to shine this game. I think the D-line is going to be able to feast, especially with people like Brock Bowers out, Jacoby Myers out. It's just going to be an overall good day. Secondary, linebackers, D-line, and then you're going to give the ball to the one and only Mahomes. Should be a good game for the Chiefs, but there's one area that's been making headlines for the wrong reason, and hopefully we can get this smoothed out, at least in this game. We got to talk about special teams, and more specifically, Harrison Butker. I know we've been talking about him. I'm not trying to, continuously throw at the guy, but he's having his worst season. 78% on field goals, 82% on PATs, 3 missed field goals total, 3 missed PATs. Those cost points. Those contribute to losses. Dave Tobe said, quote, "It's just about focus and really dialing in on the short ones and getting that consistency back, game in and game out," end quote. Again, can we stop with the excuses for him? We know that's what has to happen. We know he has to focus. We know it's a mental position. Why is it not being done, though, for the highest paid kicker in the NFL? I get it. His resume buys some goodwill for the Chiefs, and it should, rightfully so. You can't cut him. He doesn't necessarily deserve to be let go. You can't do that. It's too much money anyways. But that's not the point. What I'm saying is he deserves to at least be given a chance, which we've given him, and he still is making mistakes. The Chiefs went for it on 4th down a couple times against the Lions, especially after the PAT missed. Now, whether you want to say that was just matching the intensity of the Lions, that's fine. I kind of agree with that. You knew the Lions were going to go for it on 4th down. You had to match that to keep pace with them. But also, what if it was because the Chiefs don't necessarily trust Butker as much as they used to? And if that trend continues, especially later in the season, you can't rely on that. Not in the playoffs. You're going to have to find someone, and there's plenty of options in free agency. But it's not just Harrison Butker that is the reason we're talking about special teams. Tyquan Thornton rose from the practice squad, made a name for himself in summer camp, but with Rashee Rice returning, his role on the offense definitely dips, and now he might be looking more at special teams. Again, Dave Tobe said, quote, "There's a chance we could have 7 receivers up. 5, 6, and 7 have to play special teams or you're wasting spots. Thornton could help with that," end quote. So now you have Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, and Juju Smith-Schuster. That's your set 4 wide receivers. They are not touching special teams at all. So that leaves Thornton, Nico Remigio, and Jalen Royals to fill those spots. Tyquan Thornton, 142 yards so far. He's trained as a returner with Brashard Smith. He's been a gunner as well since minicamp. His speed is going to flip positions. We saw what it does in the deep ball game. Imagine what it can do when he's returning punts or kicks. But the main point of this whole segment is to say that Harrison Butker's misses, they can't continue. There's no reason for it to continue in week 7 against the Raiders. I want to see it cleaned up, and I think this will be the week that they do it. All right, last but not least, are we losing out on some trade targets, folks? We might be. Again, I've been talking about it probably for the last month, maybe month and a half, maybe even longer. But the Chiefs, I truly believe, need to look at a running back in the trade market, especially before the trade deadline. Names like Alvin Kamara, Breece Hall, I've continuously brought up. But now those 2 options are looking kind of dim, folks. I don't know if I'm feeling confident anymore. Alvin Kamara already squashed trade talks on Thursday. He said, quote, "If the Saints move me, I would go somewhere to drink pina coladas," end quote. Basically saying, the Saints want to send me somewhere else, I'm just going to go ahead and retire. Fair enough. Kamara, 5-time Pro Bowler, Saints all-time rusher, he signed a 2-year extension with them. And he told the GM that it's New Orleans or bust. Then you look at Breece Hall, 410 yards, 88 carries, 4.9 yards per carry, 17 catches, 150 yards this season. He's eyed for around a 5th round pick, or so we thought. That's what the rumors were saying was his price report. But Aaron Glenn now has come out and said, quote, they're rumors. I still feel the same way, end quote. And he's talking about what he was saying at the beginning of the year when he wants Brees Hall in this running back room. He does not want to trade him. Again, this could just be talks to, get other teams interested, make it seem like he's worth more so teams throw a little bit more. I totally get that. But again, if it's not, there's another option that the Chiefs are not going to be able to get. 2026 free agency for Hall. The Jets are reluctant to sign a big contract to keep him around, especially in their rebuild mode. Chiefs have a tight cap space, $2.9 million. They're only having 118.7 rushing yards per game. It definitely needs a boost there. There's no secret. But a bidding war for Brees Hall is going to be tough for the Kansas City Chiefs to make it work. So losing Alvin Kamara sucks. Brees Hall maybe having his price go up is going to sting. So Brett Beach might have to pivot to a cheaper option at the running back position just to get some more spark in this running back room. While Kamara does seem like it's a done deal, Hall is totally not off the table, but again, his price might be going up. Well, that is all that I have for you guys on this lovely Friday. Hopefully, everyone has a great and safe weekend. Let's go, Chiefs. Let me know in the comment what your final score prediction is of what you want to see from this team in week 7. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I'm your host, Calvin Silvers. You are listening to Cheifs Latest, and until next time,